don't most people even think about this until, you know, either a tragedy happens
Yeah.
or something happens to you or something like that, that it triggers your thought to do it. Like I've always been, yeah, I can't, it always happens. It always happens when something happens in your life. It triggers you to think, like, why should people concentrate on it now more than ever before it
Yeah.
happens?
Yeah. Look, I think that we're busy. You
Mm,
know, we're all got caught up in the busy club. You know, it's a hi Cookie, how are you? I'm busy. Oh my God, I'm busy too. And then we talk about how busy we are. And busy seems to have acquired a bit of a social status, a badge of honor. That
mm,
if you're not busy, then perhaps you're not working hard enough or you're not being successful enough. So I think partly we get caught up in that dialogue. I think the other thing is that when we sit down and start setting goals, we have that moment of inspiration and perhaps 20 minutes or an hour or 2 hours of euphoria where we think this is going to be so incredible. And then
mm.
the next thing that happens, the very next thing that happens is our brain kicks in and tells us all the reasons why we can't do it.
Yeah,
And I
get it.
call them the resisting forces. And there's
Mm,
two categories. There's the fear category and there's the lack category. So your brain will tell you, oh, I can't set that goal or I can't try and go after that goal because I might not succeed. There's a fear of failure, or there's a fear that you'll be judged by the people that you live with or the people you love, or there's a fear that people will think you're being selfish, or there's a fear that you might succeed. You know, there's the fear bucket. Then there's the lack bucket. I don't have enough money. I don't have the right resources. I don't have enough time. And so your brain will tell you all these reasons why you cannot go after that goal.
mm,
And most people, or many people, at that point, that's enough. They'll
mm,
draw a line. They'll say, "Oh, it was a great idea, but
mm,
I can't do it."
mm.
So, in the book, I have a framework where I talk you through how to get past those resisting forces. And the first,
What's the first component? Because like that's the breaker, isn't it? Like that's the break of cycle. What would you say is the first component of that process?
so the first thing you want to do to move past those resisting forces is sit down and have a think about what it is that you most value in your life. So,
Interesting.
um, every self-help course you've ever done will ask you to work out your values. And
Yeah.
I think, and that's important, that's great, but I feel that's the wrong question. I don't want to know what your values are. I want to know
Yeah.
what you most value. So rather
Mm,
than thinking, integrity, honesty, success, where do you actually want to invest your time? And there's
mm,
three questions that I get you to answer to work out what it is you most value. The first question is, if you were really, really sick, what would you get out of bed for? And
yeah.
people listening can do this exercise later. So what would you get out of bed for? And write a big long list. The second question is, when you're with your besties, the people who float your boat, lift you up, what do you love talking about? And the third question is, you think of that person that you really admire in
Mm,
your life, in your orbit.
mm,
If they were to compliment you, what would you love them to say about you? And write a
mm,
list. Then get a pen and put a big circle around any answer that comes up to all three questions. And that's going to give you a pretty good idea of what it is you most value. So for mine, what I most value, my kids, my business, and my health and well-being. They're my
yeah.
three. You might have
Yeah.
10, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
So when I set a goal and I might say, well, I want to go and plant 1 million trees next year. And then the resisting forces will kick in. Oh, you don't have time. Where are you going to find the trees? What if your hands get sore? How are you going to dig? You don't have the shovels. Where are you going to find the land? All the
Mm,
resisting forces kick in. The next step is I then go to what it is I most value: my kids,
right.
my business, and my health and well-being. And I think, imagine how proud my kids are going to be of me when I achieve this goal.
Yeah.
And they might want to do it with me and we could do this goal together. Imagine what that would be like. And then I'm going to have so many articles that I can write about for my business. And this is going to be great for my business. And from a health and well-being perspective, I am going to be feeling amazing and I'm out there digging holes and I'm planting trees. And so the resisting forces have been completely pushed out of the way. They've been bulldozed by what it is I most value.